Decoding Justice Clarence Thomas, a study of his complex jurisprudence. Justice Clarence Thomas is a figure of immense influence and controversy within the U.S. Supreme Court, and his views on race, capitalism, and the Constitution have been central to shaping the modern court's ideological direction. Corey Robin's Enigma of Clarence Thomas seeks to unravel the complexity of Thomas's thinking, offering a distinct lens through which to understand the justice's jurisprudence. According to Robin, Thomas is not merely a conservative jurist, but a black nationalist whose ideas are rooted in a broader, often contradictory worldview. Robin argues that Thomas's views on race, politics, and the Constitution reflect a vision of black self-reliance, economic independence, and patriarchal family structures, which he sees as the true path to black empowerment. However, these views are in tension with mainstream liberal perspectives on racial justice and social equality, making Thomas a deeply divisive figure in American political discourse. Thomas' approach to race is perhaps the most polarizing aspect of his public persona. He stands as a stark critic of racial integration and government-led efforts to address racial inequality. Robin contends that Thomas' ideas on race are shaped by his personal experiences as a black man growing up in the segregated South and later attending a predominantly white university. His formative years exposed him to the harsh realities of racism, yet Thomas' interpretation of these experiences led him to reject the civil rights movement's push for integration. He believes that integrating black people into white society has historically done more harm than good, perpetuating racial dependency and reinforcing existing hierarchies. Instead, Thomas advocates for black nationalism, a philosophy of self-sufficiency, independence, and separation. He asserts that black people should prioritize economic independence and entrepreneurship over political participation, viewing the state as an ineffective instrument for addressing racial injustice. This stance is rooted in his belief that the government cannot solve the racial problems it has historically created, and that black people must build their own systems of power outside the realm of politics and state intervention. Capitalism plays a central role in Thomas's vision for black liberation. Robin explores how Thomas' economic philosophy draws heavily on the ideas of thinkers like Thomas Sowell, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey, who emphasize the importance of black economic self-reliance. Thomas believes that the market is a more reliable avenue for black empowerment than political engagement or reliance on government policies. Robin highlights an important moment from Thomas's youth, his father figure, Anderson, who, after experiencing racial humiliation in the workplace, chose to open his own business rather than work for a white employer. This act of economic independence became an emblem for Thomas, symbolizing black manhood, dignity, and freedom. For Thomas, capitalism offers the only real path to black empowerment, as it provides a space where black people can compete on their own terms, judged solely by their productivity and competence. This contrasts with politics, which, in Thomas's view, remains largely controlled by white elites who can either validate or marginalize black voices. For him, economic success in the marketplace offers real freedom and a means to escape the racialized dynamics of politics. Thomas's constitutional philosophy further reveals the deep complexity of his worldview. Robin argues that Thomas interprets the Constitution through two conflicting lenses: a white Constitution that empowers state control and policing, and a black Constitution that emphasizes black autonomy and self-governance. Thomas's vision of black autonomy is rooted in patriarchal values, where black men must assume leadership roles within their families and communities. This interpretation underlies his opposition to progressive rulings on gender, same-sex marriage, and abortion, where he often advocates for a return to traditional family structures and gender roles. His belief in a black constitution is grounded in the idea that black Americans must forge their own path to liberation, free from the constraints of state power and liberal political agendas. In conclusion, Corey Robin's Enigma of Clarence Thomas sheds light on the contradictions and tensions within Thomas's ideology. While his views on race, capitalism, and the Constitution may seem radical or even reactionary, they represent a deeply American vision of self-reliance, individualism, and racial autonomy. Thomas's black nationalism, though often troubling to liberals and conservatives alike, offers a unique perspective on the limits of the state and the potential for black empowerment outside the structures of government. Understanding Thomas's jurisprudence requires confronting these tensions and recognizing the profound impact his views have had on shaping the ideological trajectory of the modern Supreme Court.